Good afternoon and welcome to the second episode of Staff Chat. We are so excited to be with you today and just have a little bit of fun. We thought it might be fun to get together and show you some things that are meaningful to us in our homes. It's just a way to connect with you on another way. And so we're excited about, I can't wait to see what everybody's brought today for our show and tell time. So let's get started.
Hey friends, so I had this great family heirloom that I was going to bring and show you today, but this week we found something else that has become sort of special in our house. So this is baby girl Davis. She doesn't have a name yet, so I am taking suggestions. Just go to the FBC Facebook page and give me your suggestions. But some of you may know my husband runs the senior center up here in Pender County, and there was this loud meow coming from the Meals on Wheels truck. And it took 3 of us, but we eventually got her out of the engine, and she was pretty wild. But after a couple hours, she settled down, and now she's just our little cuddly friend. So I wanted you to meet the newest member of our house. Now I'm going to let Jim Baldwin start his show and tell.
Hey everybody, I'm sitting in front of what I wanted to show you, and it's this picture. This picture was a surprise gift to my family who endured my DMin program while I was in Philadelphia. I was actually staying with a friend of a friend while I was in Philadelphia taking classes, and she is an artist. And so I told her I had this idea, and she said, well, bring me a picture. So every time I went up there, I would bring pictures of the family. And most of our pictures were at the beach. This was actually a composite of photos that were taken at Riceville Beach. It's Enan and myself. I asked her to take a little bit more poetic license and add a little more muscles and hair on me, but she refused to do that. Anyway, that's Enan and myself and our son and daughter back when they were young. I love that picture because it kind of captures a moment in our lives and a special place in our lives. And now we're sharing that same place, that same beach, and actually that same blanket with our grandchildren when we take them to the beach. So that's the memory, meaningful thing that I wanted to share with you today. Now, Don, tell us about yours.
Hey guys, I have been living on Quail Ridge Road for 40 years, which is hard for me to believe. And my show and tell is in my backyard, and it's the favorite part of my life, and it's my Hewlett's Creek is in my backyard. See, there it is back there. It goes around and round, and Hewlett Creek is a great little creek, and it goes up and down every day. Every 6 hours, it goes up 4 feet, which is about 8 inches every hour, and it goes down every 6 hours, every day and every week and every month and every year, and for the last 40 years, as far as I know. And it's really slow and steady. And that's really reminds me that I want to keep my life slow and steady. And so I love Hewlett Creek. During Hurricane Fran, there's my little pier there, the water was 4 feet above that, which means it was all that marsh was completely covered by water. And also under my house was completely covered with water. My whole yard was covered with water. And we take Korean kids out kayaking on this creek, and our staff has been out kayaking on this creek. But Hewlett Creek is my show and tell for today, and it's the favorite part of my life, really. Maybe I shouldn't say that, my favorite part, but it's a big part of my life. So next.
Okay, guys, I believe that I'm going to be the next one to have a show and tell. And I was trying to think of something that's in my house that is significant to me. And what I came up with is actually that thing you might hear in the background a little bit. And it's this clock that I have. You can see it kind of up there on top of our corner cabinet. And I love clocks. It's just something that I've always kind of enjoyed. I like the mechanisms within them. I like taking them apart and rebuilding them, which I've done with this one several times. This one was given to me by my second cousin, who is a professional musician, and really he and his wife are mentors to me and my wife. And this was my very first clock. So I've got several old clocks, but this was my first one, and it belonged to my great-great-grandmother. And when I got it, it had some issues. It didn't really keep time as well as it could have, but I did a lot of research online and found some parts online as well, and took it apart and oiled it up and rebuilt it probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And I love it. You can hear it when you're just sitting on the couch in my house, and you can just kind of enjoy the ticking of the clock. Some people don't like that, but I really enjoy having that kind of constant sound going, and I love the dings that it makes every 30 minutes, letting you know either the time or that it's that time plus 30 minutes. So that's my show and tell.
Well, my show and tell, I thought it was going to be so easy. I started looking around my house. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. I'll get to show some international travel thing we brought home from somewhere. And I looked at these shelves that were once filled with like lots of breakable, nice things. And then I looked around and I was like, honestly, none of those have any value to me anymore. And so I looked at those same shelves, and now they're covered in toys, and they are filled with children's books, and I wouldn't have it any other way. All of my stuff in my house now revolves around these four. And so we have Nadia, who is my reader, soccer lover, and Minecraft master. We have Julia, who is my talker. This girl always has something to say. And last week she wrote a sermon just on her own. She just thought she'd write one. And then she came to me later and said, I need to edit that. It doesn't have a good illustration. And so we typed that up. So she's got a sermon ready to go next time we need a preacher. And then this is Ollie, who just started walking just a couple weeks ago. So he is everywhere and all into everything and loves cats. And every time we see a cat, he's meow, 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 meow. And then this is Lydia, and she is my creative builder and innovator. Last week, she was working up a plan to build tiny houses, motivate kids to build tiny houses to promote the awareness about homelessness, and they were going to have a cookie business that would raise all the funds that would help then finance these tiny houses to eliminate homelessness in Wilmington. So I'm really proud of these four and all the joy that they are. They're my number one thing to show you.
Becca, before you switch, I have a question. Is she up for preaching on June 7th for graduation Sunday?
She's got it ready. You ready to preach
it?
Oh, she wants me to preach it.
That's good stuff.
So I get to be next, and we got a little issue at my house today. So I'm at my home away from home, which is downtown at the corner of 5th and Market Streets. And I'm glad Becca brought along 4 things, because rather than bring along one thing, I brought along 3 things. And I often get accused of being the long-winded one, and having 3 things would probably make me a little more long-winded, but I'll take a chance on it. So I have 3 things. This is one of them. You can see this little piece of the church. I came in 1990, and in 1991, we began a renovation in the sanctuary. Someone made this little piece for me. Got the 2 spires, the taller one, the smaller one, and I guess the outline of our church. And this came from the old church choir loft. Well, then a few years later, in 1998, we had a little visitor. Our visitor came along, and she tore down the church steeple, or a good bit of the church steeple. And so I got this piece. This is a brick, one of the original bricks from the spire, the tall spire of First Baptist Church. It still has a little of the concrete left on it, what's left of it there. And then as we put the spire back in place, we had a few pieces of slate that had flown off the building. And so I've got this piece of slate. This is one of the original pieces of slate off the roof of the church. It was a gift to me from one of the longtime members of our congregation, a lady by the name of Ruth Clayton. And we will call her name on Sunday as we, on Memorial Day Sunday, remember those who have passed away in the past year. Ruth was a part of our congregation from the time she was born, and a member for better than 85 years. So on this piece of slate, she wrote on the back a statement. It's from a poem that Ted Adams, the pastor of First Baptist Church in Richmond, for so many years decided was not his own, but it was one of his life poems. And it's one that I try to read every day when I'm here having quiet time in my office. And that the line from that poem says, "Lean thine arm a while upon the window sill of heaven, and gaze upon the Lord, and with a vision in thine heart, turn strong to meet the day." So that's what I try to do every day. These are the 3 things that are most significant for me that are here in my office. And I am thrilled that I get to be a part of First Baptist Church. First Baptist Church will always be a big part in my life as I'm here today at my home away from home. So I will mute myself now, and
Yeah, so I think I'm next. For mine, during this coronavirus stuff, I have been looking around my apartment for a Bible. Now that might seem weird to y'all, but I spend a lot of time in lots of different places. And so I have a Bible. There are actually a couple Bibles in my office, at my parents' house. I have a Bible at my girlfriend's place. I have a Bible in my car. But I was looking all around my apartment the other night while I was getting ready for a choir devotion for a physical Bible. I didn't want to use my phone. I didn't want to use the Bible Gateway app. And so I looked in my bookcase and I saw this. It says Holy Bible on it. And I found this name, Robert H. Laughlin, at the bottom of that Bible. Excuse me, I got a thing in my throat. But if you open up this Bible, you might see presented to Robert Harris Laughlin on October 17th, 1936. And so this Bible was given to my granddad almost 100 years ago. And it means a lot to me because this is my mother's father, and he wasn't very open with his faith. He didn't really go to church that much. My grandmother was the church organist, but my granddad wasn't that involved. We knew he had a faith, but we were never sure how deep it ran. And when I found this Bible, I remembered that I found it in his room when I was cleaning out his house after he passed. And over the past couple of months, it's actually been really special to me to open up this Bible, to turn to some of my favorite passages. I turned to Psalm 46 the other day, which is actually the psalm that one of my favorite hymns, A Mighty Fortress Is Our God, is based off of. And I remembered that my Lutheran grandfather also loved the Reformation hymn, A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. And I look in here, and I actually found a bookmark in this Bible in Psalm 46 that my granddad had left there. You can see that even though he might not have been very open with his faith, this Bible is very, very well loved. And so it gives me a lot of comfort and makes me feel connected with him when I've opened this Bible over the past few months. So I think Gavin's next for his show and tell.
Howdy. Mine is kind of a, I don't know, it's not really a secret or anything, but I don't tell everybody, but I just really like the Greek Orthodox tradition around iconography. I don't hold high spiritual allegiances to it. I just think that icons are something that I look to spiritually for devotional purposes. Maybe I might pray, God, help me to be like this saint or so-and-so that we have looked to or whatever. But anyway, the tradition of iconography is very ancient. It's something that's old within the larger church tradition. And so a lot of times whenever I visit places, if I know that there is a spiritual presence there, meaning there's some sort of significant movement of church or of people that are spiritual in nature, I try to seek out a icon from that place. I haven't done this very long, but it's something I think is kind of neat. Haley and I made a trip with some friends to Italy back in October, and we visited Rome and we visited Florence, and we also went to Venice. And there was this Greek Orthodox church in Venice, which was kind of cool. And it was really beautiful sanctuary, or it was a very beautiful church and very beautiful iconography everywhere. And I wanted to remember our experience well. And so I was asking around, is there anywhere I can get an icon in Venice? And they're like, well, there's a store down the street. Maybe there's a place over here. Maybe there's a place down there. There's a vendor, maybe this. We don't know. No one could really tell me where a place was that I could find one. And Haley and I were walking down this one alley somewhere. I don't even remember how we found it. We just stumbled across this one store that had some icons in their window, along with some jewelry, maybe some fancy thises or that's. And I was like, oh, we've got to go in there. We've got to go look. And I eventually found this icon of the Trinity, which I thought was super, super cool because I had never seen one like this. Most of the ones I have are really, they're not real fancy and they don't have lots of painted on descriptions and things. A lot of them are really stickers stuck on a piece of wood, but they just remind me of the thing that happened at the place or whatever. But this one's super special to me because it's handmade in Italy, and I mean, it's not fancy, but it is handmade, and it reminds me of that time and that place, because when we were in Italy, we went into every church we came across. If we went into big churches and little churches and big significant churches and churches that are just the average Joe's church. And I remember going into these churches and feeling God's presence in a different way every time we went into a different place. And going into that Greek Orthodox church in Venice was super special to us. And this icon specifically reminds me of that. And I think that that's a pretty interesting part that I'd like to share with everyone. So that's mine. I think I'm gonna turn it over to John Daniels. It's his turn.
Good afternoon. It's great to be with everybody today. You know, I had a hard time really coming up with what I wanted to share today, and actually literally bumped into what I want to show to you. And it's a little bitty game piece. In our house right now, we have our card table set up, and we love playing games. And I'm just a tad competitive. So we have lots of little games out there. This is from a game called Acquire, where you try to build corporations and take over corporations and get lots and lots of money, and it's a whole lot of fun. And this is from my other game, Catan. That's probably my favorite. We play it all the time in the house. Recently, our 29-year-old daughter has moved home with us, and I thought about showing her off, but she wouldn't do that. But we've been playing lots of games, and we just love spending time with each other and laughing with each other. And of course, I enjoy winning. And of course, I don't enjoy losing. So my last 2 games I've lost. I'll go ahead and put that on the record. Melinda has clobbered me, and I'll just go ahead and share that with everybody. Hopefully I will not need counseling for that, but I am struggling a little bit. But we just love our home. We love being together, and we love the time that we spend with each other. Jeannie?
Thanks, John. Gosh, I was listening to y'all talk, and I sort of had some of those same thoughts. Jim, when I was walking around, I saw the rendition of our church that you can put the Christmas light in at the holidays, and that we keep that up all year round. I love that piece, and just all kinds of stuff. Becca, like you, I walked around and thought, honestly, apart from my family, none of this stuff really means anything. I mean, yes, I love my stuff, but not to the point of what am I going to show, but I did come up with something. Y'all know I love Wanderlust. I have this Wanderlust kind of thing. I love to travel, whether it's getting in the car and driving up to Burgal or getting on a plane and going somewhere really fun. And for our 19th wedding anniversary, which I miscalculated and thought it was our 20th, but our 19th wedding anniversary, Jeff and I went to Italy. And, you know, we didn't have a ton of money, but we put our pennies together. We went to Italy. It was such a great time. The euro was not very good. Everything was really sort of expensive. And I'm not a big buy trinkets everywhere you go kind of person anyway. So we decided what we were going to do is put whatever money we would spend into a piece of art. And it couldn't be extravagant. It was just something that we could bring back with us to help us remember. So that's what I'm going to show y'all. This picture that was on my wall. Everybody see it? I just love this photo. It's a picture of the poppies over the hillsides in Italy, and that area right outside Florence. Gosh, that just is the most gorgeous place. One of the most gorgeous places I've ever been. We were sort of toward the end of our trip, and we had not found anything yet. Either we loved or that we could afford, and we were sort of going through this alley on a day, much like today. It was rainy and dreary, and we both saw this piece of art in this little shop and went in there, and the owner actually spoke some English, and it was so great to, you know, talk to him, and he knew why we were buying it. It was just really special. So every time I see that in my house, I just have that warm fuzzy feeling, and it's something that I treasure. Well, y'all, thank you today. And anybody have any questions for anybody about your stuff? Anybody? No. Well,
I have a recommendation for Jane's cat.
What is that?
If it's a boy, you could name it Gavin.
It's a girl.
Oh, never mind. Haley.
Maybe we should name it Ollie after Oliver's love for cats.
That.
Good idea. Well, y'all, thanks for coming by. Thank y'all for joining us today. Look forward to being with you maybe next week or the week after, as our time permits. But I'm really glad that everybody got to tune in today, and give us some suggestions below on what Jane should name her cat. Good to see everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.